Can you tag jewelry with RFID technology? I think the answer may surprise many of you, and ultimately the answer is welcome back to another episode of Tech Made Simple. Today we're answering the question, can you tag jewelry with RFID? It's an important question, especially for those who, if you watched my last video about the Walmart RFID mandate, eventually the category for jewelry is going to be implemented for the Walmart mandate. So with that, you've probably already figured out the answer, and that is yes, you can tag jewelry with RFID. But there is some important pieces of criteria that you really need to understand before you go and start tagging all the different jewelry with different RFID products. So I recommend you stick around until the end of this because I'm really going to go into detail about how you can go about tagging different pieces of jewelry, as well as what are some of the main benefits of tagging jewelry with RFID, because some of them differ from many of the other RFID applications I've talked about on this channel. So first off, how do you go about tagging different pieces of jewelry with an RFID tag? Typically, tags are fairly big and bulky, and how are you going to fit that RFID tag, that antenna on, earrings or rings or small fine pieces of jewelry, or even like individual diamonds per se? RFID technology is getting smaller and more sensitive, meaning it can perform better around difficult conductive materials like metals, which most jewelries are. However, there's still the issue of getting a tag on or around that piece of jewelry without hindering or ruining the piece of jewelry in some way by sticking some chemical adhesive or some other attachment method that may damage the jewelry. The most common method on the market today is referred to as a flag tag. For instance, on a ring, there's a small flag that almost kind of loops around and encloses so that it hangs off, for instance, a particular, a ring, a necklace, a watch, anything, something like that. Why this method is beneficial is because the tag is physically attached to the piece of jewelry. One thing that many of the high-end jewelers or key marketing executives for these big jewelers is, even though it can be secure having this RFID flag tag, it's also a bit of an eyesore and takes a little bit away from the consumer's experience when they're going to look at a piece of jewelry. Another way to track jewelry with RFID is the packaging. Finding a way to attach an RFID tag to the packaging in a way that can still identify the object when it's inside the packaging. Obviously, the one trade-off with that is, yes, the actual piece of jewelry isn't tagged, but there are other securities that can be paired with this kind of RFID application to prevent theft and other things like that. Tagging the box or the packaging that the jewelry is stored in is a great alternative to the flag tag because it's more easily concealed, as well as you can even go with a much bigger RFID tag, which can help boost performance. So why go about tagging jewelry in the first place? Well, for items priced at this particular price point that are extremely important, it's critical that you know where those items are at all times. So this is where RTLS, real-time location systems, are very important in a situation like this, where pieces of jewelry are truly being read and inventoried in real time throughout the life of the product in the retail stores. You can know exactly what pieces of jewelry are in what cabinet at what time and whether or not they are being removed from that cabinet, which you can see is a very important feature, especially when it comes to securing these high dollar items. If they don't go as far as doing the RTLS, the real-time location tracking systems, it does allow for a much easier inventory of all the items in the store at a much quicker rate. Instead of just doing one inventory at the end of the day, you can do multiple inventories throughout the day to ensure that products are where they should be inside the store. A last big feature for tracking jewelry is the use of a tamper-evident sensor on the pieces of jewelry. Sensors are becoming more and more popular, especially in the passive RFID industry. And how a tamper-evident sensor could work in this case is, for instance, on a flag tag type RFID tag, if that loop is cut or ripped or pulled off in any way, the RFID data down to the bit level will actually change. There's actually a toggle bit or a flip bit that once the resistance changes inside that RFID passive inlay, when it's read, it actually flips one of the internal bits which will output a different data number, which will alert the system that a piece of jewelry has been tampered with. One last feature that can be utilized, especially for the labels that are concealed inside the packaging for jewelry, is the use of the kill password. Because retailers aren't going to take the time to remove a label or even mess with the RFID, there's a way that they can instantly send a kill password to the embedded RFID tag in the jewelry packaging that will kill the tag, so that when the tag leaves the facility, it doesn't trigger an alarm of some sort that would alert the store that the jewelry has been stolen. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you're curious about any RFID topics that could help you in your applications, make sure you drop a comment below, like and subscribe to my channel, because I'm always coming up to date with the latest RFID news and technology. So again, make sure you leave some comments below on what other RFID concepts you want